A part of maintaining a successful blog is to make sure that you're able to stay productive. Because if you don't write content, no one's going to come by to read it. And if no one's reading your blog, you're not going to make any money. Now, how productive you need to be for a successful blog is up for debate and probably a video for another time. I'm Mike with WriterSanctuary, and today I'm going to show you 7 ways that I keep myself motivated to maintain all the different sites I own. Now, before we get started, if you can hit the like button to help the channel out, and for more videos about blogging, hit subscribe if you haven't already. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can always hit me up on social media, on Twitter and Facebook, or use the contact form on WriterSanctuary.com's website. Okay, the first way that I keep myself motivated or continue being productive is to look at everything as content. So let's say that I'm writing for crossingcolorado.com, which is the health and fitness site that I'm trying to maintain, and I walk through the freezer aisle of something that piques my interest. In many cases, it's some kind of dietary ice cream that is lactose free because, well, psoriasis. So instead of looking at it as, is that something I want, I look at it as, it's going to give me an article. That's because I know that Crossing Colorado has a track history of doing fairly well when it comes to reviews. In fact, I did a review on a chocolate peanut butter ice cream that was from, I think it was Talenti, that did amazingly well. No matter what kind of blog you're maintaining, there's always some kind of content out there as long as you keep an open mind. Like I wrote the blog post about Buy Me a Coffee, wasn't really expecting it to go anywhere, and it wound up being one of the biggest articles on the blog, and it's generated quite a bit of income. Because reviews, lists, how-tos, tutorials, all of those do exceptionally well when it comes to any kind of blog. They are effective pieces of content that you really should dive more into, especially with reviews. I think reviews and how-tos are among the 2 best performing across all 5 of my blogs that I have. So even when you're struggling with a little bit of writer's block, what kind of review can you do for your blog? Of course, this also depends on the kind of niche you have and if your target audience really appreciates that. For instance, on Colorado Plays, the highest performing blog posts are how-tos and tutorials, and I think there's only 1 review that actually gets any kind of traction. But when it comes to Crossing Colorado and Writer Sanctuary, the reviews are the biggest ones. So you do have to pay attention to what your target audience wants and who you're trying to engage. That's all comes down to search intent. The second way that I find inspiration is to energize myself first thing in the morning. For the most part, this is getting up in front of the Xbox and get the heart rate going, getting the blood flowing. I feel really good afterwards. I'm ready to go. I prefer to work out in the mornings because it helps, well, keep me focused. And there's evidence to support that exercise does influence how your brain works. And I'll leave a link to the article down below. But yeah, physical fitness does more than just add muscles and make you look good. The healthier your body, the healthier your mind. And as a blogger or freelance writer or anything that has to do with creativity, you want your brain to be in the best shape possible. And a lot of that comes from being physically active. The third thing I do is I take a look at my traffic stats. And it's a little bit of an ego boost to take a look to see how well that Writer Sanctuary has done it compared to last year and the year before. But it's more than just patting myself on the back. It's more of, this is showing me that I am taking the blog in the right direction. People are enjoying the content and they're coming back for more. So when I take a look at the stats and see the numbers change, it motivates me to continue to make something even better. Especially when I see the difference between 2019 and 2020. Anytime I see the numbers climb, it fills me with a bit of pride and self-accomplishment. I take that accomplishment and it fuels my desire to continue. Same with the YouTube videos. The last video that I uploaded did better than what the normal typical videos on my channel do. So this motivates me to create more. And you don't really have to be some kind of geek with a spreadsheet like I am. Sometimes just taking a look at Google Analytics and seeing where your traffic is going and seeing those bumps and increases helps. The fourth thing I do is make sure I set obtainable goals. Now I talk about goals a lot on this channel and even in my blog. And that's because things like micro goals do a lot more than just keep you focused to create content. When you accomplish one of those goals, it starts feeding into that self-accomplishment. You start taking more pride in your work and you start feeling better about what you're doing. And even the smallest accomplishments can feed into building up confidence. That's part of why I was so successful on Textbroker, is that I would work to surpass every day what I did yesterday. And even if it was just writing 1 more word, that was still an accomplishment and still made me feel good. It's all about that dopamine hit, and I just wrote it out. So make sure you set goals that are realistic for yourself. I mean, there's a difference between saying, I want to make $1 million this year, and then being able to say, maybe I should focus on making more money than I did yesterday. Or if you're trying to write 1 million words, focus more on what you can do today. Now, you don't want to make the goals too easy because then it really doesn't feed into that accomplishment. Because if it's something like, I'm going to write 5 words, I can do that in 1 sentence. Now you want to push yourself a little bit, but not too much. Because if you set the goals too high, then you won't be able to meet them and you'll start feeling bad about not meeting them. The 5th thing that keeps me productive is to get excited to learn something new. Now, this is another reason why I was so successful in Textbroker, because I would write in any category because it would give me something new to learn. I love learning new stuff. And so I can write in just about any niche I came across. I think one of the reasons why I like to do reviews so much is because I like to experience new things, and going through whether it's a new plugin or a new type of ice cream from the store or anything like that, I feel like, well, I'm learning something from the experience, and I love to learn. The 6th thing I definitely do is try not to multitask too much. There is such a thing as spreading yourself too thin, and if you try to take on too many things all at the same time, you're going to run the risk of nothing getting done. And there's some experts out there that attest that you shouldn't multitask. This is because it can hinder production. I'll leave a link to that article in the description down below. And finally, the 7th thing that I do to keep myself productive when I'm writing a blog is to avoid the news. Well, avoid the news before I get to work. A few weeks ago, I really couldn't avoid the news. It sucked me in, and it kind of screwed things up for a couple of days because of how much stress it brought. But for the most part, I try to stay away from anything that's news related until later in the afternoon when I'm eating dinner, or even when I'm taking a break after lunch. And even then, it's only maybe for about 5 or 10 minutes. The point is I try to avoid any negative medium that I come across. That's because anything like that can get you sucked in. You can start getting to a bad headspace, and then you start watching and consuming more negative stuff, and it just ruins your day. At least it did for me. So what are some ways that keep you productive? Now, this list of stuff is what works best for me, but that's not necessarily the way to do it. Everybody's different. You're all going to have your own unique experience. But perhaps one of the things that helps me might help you. So if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button. For more videos about blogging, freelance writing, Textbroker, WordPress, or anything else I cover, hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. I think that's going to do it for me today. I'll see you on Friday. I mean it this time.